Good morning, people. Alex here. And I'm going to do a track breakdown this morning for my first ever kind of label release with a local label, 0121 Recordings. It's on their first compilation. They had a couple of early releases on their SoundCloud. Now you can have a look. Yeah, I'm not sure if this was the second one Stepper, but the first one like by R2, Chalice and Noff Chat, that was absolutely banging. And yeah, my tracks on their second official release, No Ball Volume 1. And yeah, give it a listen, shall we? Give it a listen. It's out today on Juno, and I found it on Spotify as well.
They come in here.
Links in description.
And they play their bloody jungle music all night. They come in here. Jungle music. Jungle. All night. All night. They come in here.
Yeah, there we go. And then we've got some excellent other artists on here. Yeah, I'd advise get the whole thing. Some really good tracks on there. R2 is an absolutely stellar producer and DJ. Okay, yeah. So anyway, I haven't got bags of time, so I'm just going to jump. This is the first project. This is the first. How many? This might be useful to people because I start a lot of tracks on stream, and I don't think I've actually finished anything I started on stream. So this is a good demonstration that stuff does get finished, and it takes the time it takes to to get stuff over the finish line. Hi, Marksman. Yeah, this probably feels like a good time to just thank my patrons on Patreon, and they are, from memory, Varun, Marksman, Will, Tom, Mikas. Thanks very much for your support. If you're interested in that, everything's in the description, or any other way you can support me and the channel. I know it's a small subscribers at the moment, coming up to 300, but I'd just like to say thanks to everyone who's subscribed, liked, commented. Really appreciate it, and everyone who joins on stream regularly. It's grown quicker than I thought it would, and there's been more interaction than I thought it would in a relatively short space of time for me. I think my first stream was in October. Anyway, let's dive into the music now. So yeah, I did this jam in December 2020. So yeah, lockdown was enforced then, and I think let's have a look. So I pulled in. This was my template set at the time. Yeah, it's pretty similar still now. But I had this rave tape packs thing that I'd made from a rave recording.
All bad boy, this is yours, you know. All bad boy, this is yours, you know. Cover the road, boy. Last one selection still. Cover the road.
I'm trying to remember the MC's name, and because he's from Birmingham.
Cover the road, boy. Last one selection still.
Anyone in the after the fact can't remember his name. Anyway, yeah, so I had a couple of those,
Boy.
which didn't make it to the finished tune. This. Now that was taken from like an Amiga, like on YouTube, some Amiga a mix of Amiga music, and I just kind of cut some parts out of it. It's funny stuff because in mono it just like is that's it in mono. I think it's something to do with the way that they had to kind of load the music in on the original cartridges or the original games so that there was enough. I don't think they had many channels. Yeah, and then a break. Give it a bit of a listen to it. They can hear me talking over the top of it. That's fine.
Boy.
So the breaks in there, the break stayed the same. There's a bit more variation going on in the break than there is in the final version. This was the first jam, and I probably did it in a similar way to how I do all the jams on stream. You know, this thing.
Boy. Cover the road, boy. Last one selection.
Mr. Q there, like the sound of it. Here's the bass. So the bass is still that. The original idea. Okay, so then there's more bits of the samples, then more of this harp. Maybe I'll give away, I might package this up and put this in the description. Some of these samples so that people can have a play with them. I've got a feeling that is the final bass.
Boy.
The final bass sound in A minor, for anyone who's interested. That kind of idea, A minor pentatonic type thing. I'm pretty sure that's the bass sound that I use. So what was that? It's just, it's definitely that. Maybe I used something different. We'll have to find out. That's sampled from Wheel It Up by DJ Gunshot, which is a nice sub sound. Maybe I'll give that away as well. All right, so that was the first jam of it. So let's just give that drop a listen.
Boy.
It still had that vocal coming in. Let's just have another listen to the.
They come in here and they play the bloody jungle music.
Mastering engineer's done a cracking job on that. So that was that. And then I always stick a limiter on and bounce it out. So with the title "This Is Yours," and the tempo has since changed. It's faster than that. That was the first jam, and then I next worked on it in March the year after. So there was like 3.5 months between versions. So let's have a listen to that one. And I guess the purpose of this video is to show you like how my tracks evolve in the writing. The initial, like the break is the same, the bass line is the same, and that's like that's probably why I decided to carry on working with it, because I thought, well, that's just that they just work together. So that's going to be the main thing, and everything else is going to be like icing on the cake, if you like. That's the cake. Yeah, that's the cake. The cake is the groove, the drum and bass groove. Once you've got that, like once you're like, yeah, then don't change it. once you find the groove, like if it's working and every time you listen to it, you're like, yeah, that's the groove. So I think in this has a lot more that's happened to it. So I must have added quite a lot of parts to this version. This is the second version, second time I worked on it. So I didn't do anything between, apart from listening to it and probably making some notes. They'll be in some old journal probably now. But so we've got the raves tape still. That's still happening. So that's MC Lenny. MC Lenny. That's who it is.
Catch this.
Yeah, that's in there.
Cover the road, boy, last one.
That's still in there. Nice bit of time stretch in there. The Amiga thing is gone, so I got rid of it there. And the hot pants is still there. The bass, I got rid of this one, and that. That was still in there with a bit more variation. Now we've got a think break that I chucked in as well. I probably was like, needs another break. Really?
Cover the road, boy, last one selection still.
Yeah, so I think like these sounds have all been added in. You see, I just chucked them in at the end, but this is again. I'll package this up as like a sample pack, because I've chopped this all myself from just like YouTube recordings. So this is a Congo Natty
coming out of the UK, seeing jungle, seeing jungle music. Bless it.
That's good, actually. So that's the noise they use. They use this like bit of like static, and you can hear that still in this one.
Jungle music.
Just to add a bit of like texture, and I kind of like the sound of it repeating every 4 bars. Yeah, so that's that
Highly I, Selassie I, the first. We're on a journey.
Yeah, it's good that. So I think I just chopped that from some YouTube video was on. And yes, that's the flute, a flute thing from the same, like a bamboo flute. Where's the flute? The UK Revolution. Yeah, nice. That's quite a key, that's quite a prominent part. You can still hear that. Yeah, so I think Congo Natty is explicitly spoken about people being happy about people sampling from his music, and I think in his Rebel MC releases he purposefully left bits clean so people could use them. Seem to remember reading that. This was from this little violin sample, which is also quite key, and I think I'll package this up. This could be fun, couldn't it?
Could you tell me what the most beautiful sound or the most interesting sound that you've ever heard is?
No.
So this footage was taken from a BBC 4 interview with Stockhausen. He was a German modernist like composer, and
So what do you think about melody?
Half of electronic music
Electro.
Do you hum tunes like we all
Absolutely.
do? Do you
I
whistle?
whistle a lot.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I think I'd used that in another jam, this rack, and was like, I quite like that.
Could you tell me what the most beautiful...
The violin. There we go. And again, that stayed in there. Yeah, so there we go. That violin. Still, the main sample is missing, obviously, from this one. And I think my activity over the next bits will explain that over the next sessions. This was from some recordings of Yellowstone animals. A snipe. I got rid of the delay. It's a bit more like it's a long delay. And then this one's cool. This was sampled from the Twinkle Brothers, some Twinkle Brothers tracks. Oh yeah. Don't want to get done for copyright. Cool sounds like that. So again, I sampled that myself, probably from Spotify. So if you've got a good screen recorder, then the sky's the limit nowadays. Sampling. Okay, so that was the second version. I would have bounced that out. I stuck it in Trello. It's still called This Is Yours. How we do for time? I'll have a look at this next version, then we might skip a few versions down. So bear in mind, this was March last year, and it's released now, and it was started in December 2020. So yeah, it's been a year since I began it, that it's now out for release. The patience is a virtue with... I'm not going to save it. Yeah, so just going to open this version out. I hope everyone's having a good Friday morning so far. It is quite early. Say hi if you're watching. Leave a comment. Got any questions? So this is the third version, and like I think it's testament to the fact it's largely a mess. Like it's all MIDI and like there's these markers in. You know, I don't worry about tidying up or even naming stuff at all. Until I'm certain I want to work on the final bits for it. So let's give this one a listen. So taking that delay off. I think I wanted to make things more staccato at this point. Breaks are still quite frenetic. And there we go. I had that's the sample. So I wonder, what is the time between that? Yes. So there's quite a long break between this and that, and I'd actually use that. I'd use that sample in another track, in another jam. And this is where I think it's perhaps interesting for... I expect producers do this. I'd used it in this jam. And you look, the time's similar, so it was around the same time that I did that jam and the first one. Bit more bang in this one. I mean, it's all right, isn't it? Really, I don't know why. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know why I didn't want to carry on with it. Probably because it's like sometimes I find the simplest ideas that I've nailed it in one go. Like I'm trying to overcomplicate it. My brain, just because I say I have to work on it, I then create things to do on it. Whereas if I just said no, that's finished. I don't know. It's a psychological battle, the creative process sometimes. So yeah, so I'd used it in that jam and was like, that'll work really well in this with that bass line.
They come in here and they play the bloody jungle music all night.
I'm starting to get the idea now. Bassline's still all over the place, really, note-wise. If you listen to the breaks, they're still all over the place a bit as well. I think the groove could be tighter. I've got rid of the rave tapes at this point, and so the initial ideas that kind of kick the track off are gone, like the additional touches, and I think that's quite important to like not be precious with any of your ideas. And if something isn't working, don't try and EQ it or like just get rid of it. Find something that does work instantly, you know. It's kind of like, it's almost like shedding skins. You shed like a reptile shedding skins. You have to like get rid of this stuff and constantly redraft. And if the sound isn't working, get rid of it and find one that does. Okay, yeah. So that's like the third version. That is the third version of that track. And that's when I was like, no, it should have that sample. Finding it again. So yeah, that was the third version. And then you see I've done a lot more versions and it probably doesn't sound that much different. So maybe if we skip ahead a couple of versions. I might have been just working on very small things at this point. Like I need to tighten up when the samples happen, or I need to make it more like this sample happens then it's 8 bars and it happens again, or something different happens. Which is really where the focus was, I think. And one thing that is missing is the halftime switch. So that's quite a key feature, is that it goes from like a 1 2 3 4 1 to like it does like this halftime thing. It's in this clip. So that's great. Switch goes half time. Switches half time groove.
They come in here and they play the bloody jungle music all night.
So it's the bass that leads that. So sometimes it's the simplest thing that can take the longest time to get to, like in the process. And that's such a simple idea, just going from to and yet it can be like that would be really powerful on the dance floor. I feel some kind of like a change like that. So this looks like I've bounced stuff down, so I'm probably like I think it can be mixed now. And you know, there's 11 channels of stuff here, so it's quite a straight, simple tune, but it was easy to mix, and that was why. So I feel like I'm probably getting to the final arrangement now. What stayed in, we've still got the hot pants. I've bounced it down now, audio. Still got the think. The break is still chopping and changing. There's too much variation in it, I think, for this type of track.
And they play their bloody jungle music all night.
So this was just to test it out in the car, probably, by the sounds of it, and to do an actual, like, a rough mix of it. I think the key with, like, mixing, particularly like more of old school jungle, I've found from experiences, like, the bass should be the loudest thing. If you want your bass to work and like the bass isn't coming through, just turn it up.
And they play their bloody jungle music all night.
See, the bass is like about 6 dB louder than
They come in here. Jungle.
It's an interesting thing about jungle, I think, which is like, I think why it just works as a genre really well is that, and I've spoken about this frequently on stream, is that the drums, because it's sped up and the drums are repitched, they're higher in pitch than they would be than they were on the original recordings. Let's have a look. I mean, so that's where the fundamental of that kick is sitting. And it hasn't really got too much bottom end, like you might. Maybe I don't know how fast the hot pants was, like. Something like that, wasn't it? See, that's a lot lower. That's like 30 hertz lower or something, considerably lower. So the drums are a lot higher in pitch. The fundamental of the kick is a lot higher in pitch, leaving a lot of space for our bass to do its thing. And then the bass and the kick on the repitched break almost work as one kick drum, like the top of the beater, the snap of the beater on a kick drum, and then the low end of the kind of the sound of the drum itself. That's my take on it. And that's why you can hear the kick, the top of the kick, and you can hear the woo of the bass. Because one's happening here and one's happening there.
They come in here and they play their bloody jungle. They come in here and they play their bloody jungle music all night.
It's almost an F as well, which is a third below the A minor. It's kind of in the same key as the track. It's a sympathetic note in the key of A minor to the bass. So they kind of just work together without, and there's no, I didn't put any processing on any of this stuff other than effects. Which is probably lazy of me, and now I would probably be tempted to maybe push things a bit. But the less like you do on these parts, the more you can just rail the tune at like the mastering at the final volume level. I'm not a mastering engineer though. This is just me talking about doing it myself, and I'd be interested to see what the mastering engineer actually thought of that concept. So. Hey, Mikas. Hope you're good. Yeah, so that was tune was I started the tune December 2020, the 14th. Probably an early morning. Yeah, saved at 8:30, so it's an early morning session as well. And then I thought about doing a live version of it, and then let's skip forward to this one. Not much has changed here, probably. And the effects I've got on the sends are just these echoes and Valhalla Room. It's quite a tight track. You don't want too much reverb going on. I wanted it to sound old school, really. Again, not much has changed here, but it looks like there was definitely a period where I left it. I left it a month there. I remember listening to it in the car after like a few weeks from not listening to it and thinking the break could be straighter. There's a bit too much variation, and maybe I've done that here. So. Yeah, I think I have done it here. You can see I've chopped up the think break more here. That probably is quite like if you're used to what I do on stream and like how I chop breaks and everything. This is the last phase where I've actually bounced it down, and then even then I carry on maybe tweaking it and chopping stuff. I might even just look to do four bar repeats like this, or 1 bar repeats. Yeah, 1 bar repeats.
They come in here.
So all this is still in the final track, I think.
And they play their bloody jungle music all night. They come in here. Jungle music.
Yeah, so that sounds pretty much like the final version. Seem to remember messing around with the breakdown.
They come in here.
It's only like 8 bars.
And they play their bloody jungle music all night.
The track's simple, really. I wanted the breakdown to be simple. I wanted it to just be clean and effective. It may be worth talking about where that sample's from, the jungle music. It's a film called Babylon. That I've always been a fan of dub and sound system stuff, and that's not 2022. It's not got Brad Pitt in it. Yeah, this film, it's really good. And I think the cover art got me, and I was like, that looks really cool. And yeah, it's a good film. And there's a bit where someone says that there's a confrontation, and just kind of worked. And I thought it fitted the vibe and the whole kind of ethos of how I see the genre. So yeah, that is where that came from. That came quite late, and I was just watching the film, and it happens, and I was like, oh yeah, that would be really anything where someone says jungle, but I thought it would work on a number of levels.
They come in here. And they play their bloody jungle music all night.
Yeah. lot of delays on that. Again, nod to the dub stuff really. And I think there's some automation on on this happening at points, probably where I wanted some extra feedback.
And they play their bloody jungle music all night.
That snipe sound is so good. It's like proper jungleistic. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think at that point I'd sent it to a few people, to DJ friends and stuff, and maybe tidied it. What was this one for? I think this was where I sent Natty the final but the trimmed version, or I think it had some headroom on it. So yeah, this was like a really simple one from start to finish, and I think it demonstrates like how over time I've just got better at immediately knowing what needs to be got rid of and what should be kept. Like in terms of groove, the groove stayed pretty much the same throughout however many versions, and also that like all of these sessions, I probably was just doing, especially towards the end, the changes got smaller and smaller, and it was imperceptible what was changing. It might have just been probably the breakdown. I seem to remember quite spending a lot of time just getting that breakdown nailed with the drums. What's happening on this one? Yeah, it's just the limiters off, or headroom. Yeah. So key moments in this were getting rid of the first sounds that I didn't like, and the second session where I added in some new sounds. The break stayed a bit scatty until the end when I kind of tightened things up, and that kind of taught me that I can keep things quite loose as long as I know what the groove is. Like I can keep the drums. You don't have to deal with every single error, or not error. You don't have to deal with everything you want to address in a track in one session. You can spread it over time, and also, and this is like the kind of fallacy of memory, that you don't always remember what you didn't like on any one listening session. So you might listen to it and be like, no, I definitely need to fix this or do this, and then you listen back a week later and you're like, you've forgotten, and you don't even hear what you did the previous time. I think every time you listen to a track you've worked on, it's like a different experience. And even here, like, I try to cultivate like non-attachment to my music, I guess now. I'm really happy with how this sounds and how the whole track came out. But it almost feels like I didn't make it at this point.
They come in here, jungle music.
And the tempo obviously changed, notched it up a bit. But yeah, it doesn't even feel like I did this track. It's kind of doing the splurges, doing those jams, and like leaving it between listening sessions helps me cultivate this attitude of like non-attachment to my music. And I think it's a really important mindset to practice with anyone who makes tunes. It's like don't attach your self-worth, light touch along the way, and if it isn't working, don't worry about it, just start something different, try something else. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that really. I'm definitely gonna make some packs out of those early sounds, and like I'll make maybe an all-night pack. I'll put some stuff in the description. I'll put some stuff on Patreon. I'll put the full lot on Patreon if you're interested in getting it. I've got quite a low tier you can sign up to, or you can buy this track, or you can buy any of my music on Bandcamp. All the links are in the description. And I'd just like to say thanks to 0121 Recordings and all the artists featuring on the compilation. Thanks to Natty D and to Cam as well at 0121 Recordings for organising everything and making it a painless process. I haven't put the links in the description for like everyone else's socials, but you can find it all on my Instagram, which is in there. So yeah. thanks very much. And I hope you have a nice Friday. Hope you like the tune, and I'll see you around.